This is Isaiah chapter 29, verse 20 through 21. For the terrible one is brought to naught, and the scorner is consumed, and all that watch for iniquity are cut off, that make a man an offender for a word, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate, and turn aside the just for a thing of naught. Shalom, shalom. Before I begin this lesson, I want to give all praise, honor, and the glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well, and peace and blessings be multiplied on all you brethren, pushing this word in all sincerity and in truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect, 144,000. I'm the brother Dama Al-Gabar, here with another lesson, Lord willing to edify through the spirit and power of Yahweh wa Yahweh Shai. All right, and as scripture say, the terrible one, which is Esau Edom, is being brought to nothing. As we see this man's society crumbling, as we see him ultimately being made bare and being exposed, people are losing faith in his government and its American system. The high tide that they was riding with Donald Trump when he was running for president, and all the promises and the all the great and wonderful things he was campaigning for, making America great again, reboosting the economy. Hey, now all those things are slowly being forgotten. And now people are growing more and more disgruntled, more and more dissatisfied with, this Trump administration, and people are seeing that the things that he is doing is having a horrible effect on this economy, on, these people's way of life. And people are not very happy. You're seeing more and more uprisings. You're seeing, more people speaking out against the powers that be. And ultimately, we just see Esau slowly being brought low. All right. And the only thing that's really left for this devil is to bring the order out of all the chaos, man. And this is, now everybody is seeing that, well, not everybody is seeing it, but hey, we're seeing that Trump was the man to be set up to ultimately to crash this economic system and to bring in this new digital beast, mark of the beast system. With all of his tariffs, all of his financial plans, all of these things he's trying to do to make America great again is really making America worse. It's making America be more isolated. It's causing America and its allies to turn against one another, and this place is being isolated, and this place is being ultimately left out to dry. And we know that this is all being done systematically by these elites, but it's just further leading to the point to where, hey, these devils are getting ready to start cracking down and coming down with that great wrath, and ultimately allowing this whole system to go completely, down the drain, so that they can bring in this new world order. All right. And also it's going to be a way for these devils to silence all of the critics, to finally get their hands on everybody that is speaking out against the powers that be, all of the conspiracy theorists, all of the whistleblowers, and ultimately, mainly the prophets of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, the men of the Lord, and the great awakening of the Hebrew Israelites is all going to be, it's all going to be, this whole destabilization. And this agenda is ultimately, another way for them to basically come down with that great wrath, pass, certain executive orders, bring in the Insurrection Act, and basically to get rid of all the undesirables inside of this society so that they can bring in this new world order, man. And these devils are bragging and boasting about, how they're arresting people over there in Europe for wrongthink. And like I said, they're doing this over there in Europe, but believe me, it's going to happen over here in America. Maybe not by the same, way that they're doing it over there in Europe. But like I said, eventually when they crash this society, when people start, taking it to the streets, when all the uprisings really start happening, when all hell is breaking loose this society, who the hell you think they're going to blame? They're going to blame all of the so-called truthers, all the conspiracy theorists, all the people who have been, going online and publicly exposing a lot of the bullshit and coming up against the powers that be. They're going to be the first on the list to be blamed for the reasons of why, all of this disorder is happening, why people are rioting, why things, all this confusion, all of this mis and disinformation. It's just going to be another way for them to silence all of the critics, and like I said, mainly to come up against this truth. Remember, over there in Britain, they're also talking about locking up street preachers for 2 years for basically going out in the highways and the byways and preaching the truth, man. But look at this. This is from the People's Voice. It says British Minister Starmer brags about arresting 400 citizens for wrong think online. What is wrong think? Basically, people have an opinion outside of the powers that be. It says British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has openly acknowledged that over 400 UK citizens have been arrested, mainly for online activity, in a move critics say marks a dangerous escalation in the government's crackdown on free speech. You see, because in the world they're trying to create, there's not going to be no such thing as free speech. You're not going to be able to just get on the internet and criticize and expose and call bullshit on anything that the government does, man. You're not going to be able to have opinions or have thoughts outside of the mainstream narrative. You will be grabbed up. You will be locked away. You will be cast into prison, and eventually even worse. You might be thrown into a concentration camp. You might be sent off to, Venezuela somewhere. But this is where things are headed. It says the comments have ignited backlash from civil liberty advocates who warn that the UK is sliding into authoritarian territory, because this is ultimately what these elites want, to have an authoritarian dictatorship and a government. They're just waiting for the right crisis, for the right situations to take place so that they can pass laws and be justified in doing these type of things, man. Ending online speech, setting up martial law, making laws in place to where no criticism of the government will be allowed under any circumstances, man. You can be brought before a firing squad. You can have your head put in a guillotine, hang from the gallows, or locked in prison indefinitely, or banned from, society. It says where expressing dissenting opinions online can lead to arrest and prosecution. Remember, they said they're trying to get laws passed to lock up people, street preachers, man. You see? And this is just a way for them to, pass laws that are very, vague, so that they can pretty much label anybody that they want to an enemy, It says, while the government claims these actions are necessary to combat hate speech and misinformation, critics argue the vague legal framework allows for selective enforcement against political speech and unpopular opinions, you see? And that's what this is, that make a man an offender for a word, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate, and turn aside the just for a thing of not. And you see, and this is why I believe they're really like lately, YouTube hasn't really been shutting down, videos like they were during the P. I think now they're letting people speak more, express themselves more. So when they do bring these laws to pass, all they got to do is just, say, well, we're going to comb through the internet. And if you got any online speech that we deem to be hateful for the last, going back to 2018, hey, you're more than likely going to be held, guilty for, hate speech or misinformation or speech that they deem to be offensive, and boom, bap, whop, they can just lock you up and be justified in doing it, man. Remember, this is the devil that we're speaking about, and we know that the times are coming where he's going to be in this spirit. It says people are being arrested for not for what they do, but for what they say or share online, said one UK-based free speech campaigner. We're rapidly entering a world where disagreeing with the state, even peaceably, digitally, can land you in jail, man. See that? This is what? Revelation chapter 2, verse 10. It says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried. And we know when they get you in these prisons, hey, they might offer you that MOTB. This is going to be another way in which they're going to be able to bring in this authoritarian system and usher in this MOTB, this digital ID system. This is going to be a way that we can crack down on, hate speech or anything that comes up against our new world in real time. It's not going to be no more online anonymity, if that's the right word. We're not, you'd be able to be online without us being able to track and trace and figure out who you are in real time, And if you want to get out of this prison, you want to get out of this sentence, we'll let you back in, but you're going to have to take this charagma. And, they're going to be new laws in place to where no online opinions or criticism will be tolerated. You know, they'll have a whole new system set up, for people that buck up, people that dissent, people that get out of line. Hey, they'll be, you will let you out. You get your CBDCs, your universal basic income. You ain't got to work no more. We got this new system in place, and these are particular fines and penalties that you will face if you dissent, if you, violate, So, hey, we can't put it out of our mind that this devil won't take it to this level, but we know he's getting ready to come with it. It says, he shall cast some of you into prison that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. So certain brothers, we're going to be locked up for our testimony in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, for having faith in the scriptures and in the Bible and in the Most High, and not Esau and his system and his image, his mark, and this new system that he's implementing upon the earth, man. And some of us are going to be put to death for not submitting, for not bowing down, for not bending the knee, for not taking back our opinions and our thoughts about this man being the wicked and his system being corrupt, and ultimately not, denying Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, So, hey, we're just entering into these times, What else is in here? Let me see. Let me see. It says, consider the sight in that fight that censored dissidents, that closed churches, that counseled elections. Were they the good guys? Certainly not. And thank God they lost the Cold War, Vance said. They lost. Oh, he's going into some other shit. Here we go. It says, as British citizens face criminal charges for online expression and other European nations weigh similar laws, many are now questioning whether the Western world still holds freedom of speech as a core value. And eventually here in America, it's going to be the same thing. Something is going to happen and something's going to be put into place to where, this guy right here, Donald J. Trump, that cruel Lord, is going to put things into place to where your free speech will be restricted, to where, criticism and opinions outside of, the mainstream narrative will be punishable. They're coming to a point to where, they just want everybody to obey. They don't want anybody to have an opinion. They don't want you to have critical thoughts. They don't want you to, they don't want you to have an opinion outside of anything that the powers that be are doing. Just obey. Just be good slaves. Just shut the fuck up and do what we tell you to do. Otherwise, there's going to be hell to pay. They want this totalitarian dictatorship, man, to where everything they say goes and you have no voice, no opinion, no rights, no nothing but to just be grateful and obey and own nothing and eat the bugs and just shut the hell up, man. All right. It says many are now questioning whether the Western world still holds freedom of speech as a core value, or whether we're witnessing its slow and deliberate dismantling under the guise of safety and regulations. And that's exactly what these devils are doing. All right. And it says Revelation chapter 12, verse 12, therefore rejoice ye heavens and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. A short time for what? To bring in this new world order. All right, let's look up this word for wrath. Then I'm going to close it out. I don't want to make this too long. And the word is thymos. It says passion, angry, heat, anger, forthwith boiling up and soon subsiding again. Yeah, but this time we know his anger is not going to subside. Remember, this is the agenda of the New World Order. And their motto is to expect no mercy. Look at this in the Strong's definition. It says passion as if breathing hard, fierceness, indignation, wrath. You see? Let's go to the root word. Oh, look at that. To slay, to kill, to slaughter. You see? Look at it. It says by extension to immolate, slaughter for any purpose, kill, slay. You see? And that's the type of wrath that he's going to be coming with, as we get closer and closer to the end of this thing, man. So, hey, man, things are moving fast. We know that these are prophesied to happen. And we know, there's going to be a great insurrection on those that fear the Lord and the men of the Lord and whistleblowers and people telling the truth and nobody that's going to willingly just submit and bow down to their agenda, man, there's going to be a great slaughter and great anger coming from this devil in these last days. But hey, that's why, our hope and faith is in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai and his divine protection and spiritual power. And ultimately, being part of the elect in these times that are getting ready to pass, man. So with that, Lord willing, you are edified. I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. To the next one, shalom.